Right. Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to tonight's webinar. Let's Talk Health and Wellness, brought to you by Mind in Bexley in partnership with Bexley CCG and the Bexley Voluntary Sector Council. This event is hosted by myself, Brett Pietersma, Digital Health Project Coordinator for Mind in Bexley. Tonight's event is part of the Digital Accelerator Project. And if you haven't heard about it yet, I'd encourage you to visit our website, mindinbexley.org.uk/SMI. And that is a mouthful. So do give our Recovery College line a call if you want some more information. They have more details on that as well. In brief, Digital Accelerator is a program of events and activities designed to empower clients with severe mental illness and their carers to get connected, be better supported, and improve their physical and mental health and well-being. In addition to tonight's webinar, we've set up an informal monthly group. This meets every second Wednesday of the month. It's a great place just to talk with people going through similar experiences. We're also offering a digital skills training program. If you're having any issues figuring out e-consult, I know I am, need help ordering prescriptions online, want to look up a meditation app, our digital health champions can sit with you one-on-one at our offices in Bexley and just help you figure out those challenges. So before we get to tonight's proceedings, I'd just like to remind you of some of the housekeeping rules. This event is being recorded, but audience members cannot be heard or seen. A video of the event will be shared on Mind in Bexley's YouTube channel. So if you have friends, family, carers who would benefit from the content, please do share. If you would like to submit any questions in the chat box, please do, and we can do our best to answer those after the presentations. But note, we won't be able to answer any specific questions about your situation. Feedback is welcome, so do use the chat function. Thoughts, ideas, topics for next time, do share them. And please keep in mind this is a live event, so please bear with us if we experience any technical issues. This event is for information purposes only. So if you need to speak to someone today, call Samaritans on 116 123 or get hold of your GP as soon as possible. So on to this evening's event. Right. You should be able to see my slides now. Right. For our agenda, we have Holly Hudson first up. She's talking about the annual physical health check. Why do we need it? Following that, we have Laura Burke talking about self-care for self-worth. And finally, last minute change. Jatinda Ray was unable to make it tonight. So thank you, Kate Traeger, for joining us. She's talking about getting connected with Community Connect and talking about volunteer opportunities in the Bexley area. So we will have, again, time for Q&A after. If you have some questions, do drop them in the chat. But otherwise, on to this evening's event. As you all know, the pandemic has taken a massive toll on the nation's mental health and wellness. And mental ill health can be already be quite an isolating experience. And I think physical isolation has only aggravated that. We hope tonight's agenda will provide you with some old, some new tricks and tools to put in your health and wellness toolbox and just get connected to your GP, get connected to Mind in Bexley, and get connected to your community. With that, I'd like to hand over to Holly Hudson.
Hello. My name's Holly Hudson. I'm a GP and I work at the Barnard Medical Group in Sidcup. And I'm also the mental health lead for Bexley CCG. My talk tonight is about your annual health check. And I'm going to share my screen, if you just bear with me. So the annual physical health check is offered to everybody with severe mental illness. And I just wanted to try and explain a little bit about why it's important to consider your physical health. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it entails and where you can access your physical health check. So this is what we want to talk about. So like, who needs a physical health check? So you know, who actually needs one? Why do you need a physical health check when you're already maybe seeing people, healthcare professionals, for your mental health? Then I'm going to explain exactly what the physical health check entails, what things we check, what investigations we arrange, and where you can get it done. So first of all, who needs a physical health check? So anyone with what we call a severe mental illness, which we call SMI. So these illnesses include diagnoses of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, psychosis, and severe depression. So if you have any of these diagnoses, then you will fall into this category called SMI, or severe mental illness. Why do you need a physical health check if you have one of these diagnoses and you're already seeing a healthcare professional about your mental health? Well, we know that unfortunately, if you have a severe mental illness, then there are a lot of health inequalities, and life expectancy is less than the general population by about 15 to 20 years. Why is this? Some of the reasons for this are that a lot of people with SMI will smoke, and we know that about 40% of adults smoke who have SMI smoke. And there is also more risk of weight gain and obesity and diabetes. And some of this risk is linked to some of the medication that you might be on. There's also more, like 3 times the risk of having high blood pressure, or what we call hypertension. Sorry.
Holly, you're still on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, there wasn't a fire, it was just someone setting the fire alarm off with the smoke.
That's good to know.
Sorry, so getting back to my slides. So yeah, so there is more, you have more risk of having raised blood pressure, which we call hypertension, and 5 times the risk of having raised cholesterol. Why are these important? So these are all important risk factors for heart disease and stroke. And this is really the key reason why we want to screen for physical health annually, so that we can reduce your risk of contracting heart disease and stroke in the future. So what is your physical health check? So when you come along for your physical health check, the most important things that will be checked are your blood pressure and your pulse. We will also do your weight and your height And with that, we will calculate your body mass index, or your BMI. And that will help us to see whether you are overweight or normal weight, or maybe underweight. And that will help us to give you important information about your lifestyle and your diet. We'll also check your smoking status, and if you are smoking, we will offer smoking cessation advice, and we can signpost you to support for that. We will also check how much you drink, how much alcohol you drink over the week, and we can give information about that. If you are maybe drinking too much, we can give information, and we can signpost you to support. We will offer blood tests to screen for diabetes and to check cholesterol levels. As I mentioned previously, people with SMI and some of the medications that you might be on do put you at higher risk of getting diabetes and having raised cholesterol. So these are important to screen on an annual basis and monitor your levels. If you're on certain medication, then we will offer you an ECG, which is heart tracing, and this can be done usually at your GP surgery. So where can you get your physical health check done? So this can be done at your GP surgery, either by the practice nurse, healthcare assistant, or the GP, and sometimes a combination of those healthcare professionals. You'll also get physical health checks done at your mental health clinic, and Mind is now offering a location where you can have your physical health check done at the monthly service user forum. Sorry, just went ahead there. And there is information on that on the side of the screen there, which I can't quite see. So I'm just going to bring that up here. Yeah, so this is at every second Wednesday of the month, 11:30 to 1 p.m. at the Blackfen Community Library in Sidcup. So there are lots of places where you will be offered your physical health check. So do take up that invitation when you get it. Why is all this important for me? Well, as I mentioned previously, it's really important that we pick up any indications that you might have high blood pressure or hypertension and diabetes, as we can try to improve your lifestyle and maybe give you medication to prevent these causing heart disease and stroke in the future. And as well as all that, we want to promote a healthy lifestyle. So we want to give you lots of information and support to help you kind of live longer, healthier lives.
Thank you, Holly.
Slides, so I'm gonna just come out of that. Okay,
super, thank you so much for that. And just a reminder where you can go for your health checks, your GP, local mental health clinic, and as Holly said, we've got the monthly service user forum, which is actually happening tomorrow. You would need to register via Recovery College, so you probably won't make it, but please pop along next month. There are juice and biscuits and good company. So I'd like to hand over to Laura next. Laura.
Perfect. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. I am just going to share my presentation for you. So what we are going to talk about today, and what I'm going to talk about, apologies, is self-care. This is something that we always talk about in mental health, and it's something that I believe is something that we really need to focus on. We all have very busy lives, quite stressful. We might be not feeling our best selves, and self-care is something that can make us feel a bit better and can put us on the straight and narrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss for about 20-25 minutes about different ways that we can look after ourselves and how best we can do that. There might be something I suggest in this presentation that isn't suitable for you, but hopefully there's one or two things that I share that will work for you. What I would also say as well is we're all very different. You know, we all have different experiences and we all have different ways to look after ourselves and take that self-care. So if someone is saying to you to try this and it doesn't work, that's okay. There might be something else that you can try that will suit you better. We're all different. So I'm going to go through self-care now. So firstly, what I just wanted to highlight is, what does self-care mean to you? Self-care can mean many things. Sometimes it might mean putting yourself first. Sometimes it might mean asking for what you need, you know, telling people that this is what you need right now, this is what you don't need. It might mean setting boundaries for yourself. It might mean that you tell people that you're not able to attend that function, or you're not able to communicate in this certain way, or this is the reason why you are like this right now. It might be you trying to get across how you are feeling. It might also be spending time alone. You know, there's lots of people who really enjoy spending time alone. It's their way to kind of process the day, process what's been going on, and then kind of reform themselves going forward. Other times it's about managing your thoughts. I'll talk to you about thoughts later, but we have something about like 70,000 thoughts in a day. Lots of them are untrue, lots of them don't make sense. So managing our thoughts and having a bit of a filter system can be really helpful moving forward for us. Another way that we can look after ourselves is actually just helping you to feel more positive. And I do think that sometimes if I think about my own experiences, if I came on this presentation years ago and someone told me to be more positive, it wouldn't really help, because actually it is quite hard to be positive sometimes, isn't it, if you're not in that space. But what does help is focusing on small achievable goals so you feel a bit more over time. But I will talk to you a bit more about that later. And lastly, you know, in terms of self-care, it's about taking care of you. I mean, a lot of us have family, we might have friends, we might have pets, and we take care of lots of other people, but actually it needs to start with us. We need to take care of ourselves first. So yeah, so that's some ways there that the self-care might mean to you. It might mean one of them things, it might mean all of them things. So firstly, what I'm going to do throughout this presentation then is just think of different ways that we can effectively look after ourselves. And as I said, there might be some things that work, there might be some things that don't. I would recommend, if you can, maybe get a piece of paper, you can write some things down, or if you've got a good memory, you might just remember it all, which is fantastic, because that is definitely not me. So firstly, I just wanted to highlight that a part of self-care might be sharing this with someone. As I said, we all have busy lives, we all have stress, we all have things going on. And they say, don't they, but when we share a problem shared is a problem halved sometimes. So if you've got people around you that you trust, if there's professionals that you trust, open up to them. We talk a lot in mental health about talking to those around us. And I always ask, when I do this presentation, when I have an audience that I can see, I always ask them, why do we say that? You know, why do we say to talk to someone around you? Why do we say to talk to those? Why is it? And the reason is because, one, sometimes when we do talk to people, we can feel a lot lighter. We can feel like that problem feels a bit more released. We've released that issue. And secondly, the other reason why we ask, we mention to talk to those around you, is because sometimes people can give you a different perspective. If I was really nervous about doing this presentation today and I started thinking that I can't do it, that I'm not capable, if I spoke to someone else, they would reassure me, they would tell me I could do it, they would maybe tell me a few things I could do to feel better, and that is going to help me moving forward. So sometimes talking to those around you can be really, really helpful. And I would even make a trust list. You know, write down who you trust, or what professionals are out there, or what helplines, so that you know that when you do need to speak to someone, you know exactly where to go. We all need someone at some point. Next, I wanted to talk about looking after your physical health. There is a real relationship between our physical and mental health. There's no surprise that lots of people say that they exercise more for their mental health than actually their physical health. They're doing it to feel better, they're doing it to release stress, and they are doing it to maybe process the day and what's been going on. I wrote here that experiencing mental health issues can make it hard to find the energy to look after yourself, but taking small steps to look after your physical health can make a difference to how you feel. You know, we understand that when you're feeling negative, it's very hard to look after yourself. You know, you might not want to, you might not have the motivation, you might not feel that you're your priority at the moment. But what I would say to you are the small things that you put in place are going to help you moving forward. And that's what it's all about, small achievable goals. So firstly, I am going to talk about sleep. I know that for adults, a lot of people really struggle with sleeping. And as we know that when we have lack of sleep, that can really affect our cognitive functioning, how we think, how we feel, how we react. You know, we might feel a bit more agitated, we might not have as much energy, and that can have a real impact on how we start to feel about the world around us, about people, and just day to day. So firstly, in terms of sleeping, it is really important to establish a good morning routine, a good sleep routine. So what I mean by a good sleep routine is attempting to go to bed at the same time every night and doing something daily that can help you go to sleep, having a bit of a ritual before you go to sleep. Some people choose to listen to a meditation video before they go to sleep. Other people listen to sounds. I listen to fire burning, like a fireplace. I find that really relaxing, so there's a tip for you. Some people listen to breathing exercises or have a bath. So try something that you can do every night, because what's going to happen, your brain over time is going to get used to the fact that, oh, okay, I need to go to sleep. You know, I'm getting into this routine, and I'm you know, going to get into that space where I can relax and I can go to sleep. We are so active a lot of the time. You know, as I said, we've got lots of thoughts going on, lots of stimulus, things are being, you know, we've got adverts, we've got people, our phone's always going, and then we're expected to just go to sleep. But actually, sometimes we need time to calm down from the day. We need to get ourselves into that space that we are ready to sleep. You know, after this presentation, if you said, right, I have to go to sleep right now, it's not going to happen. You know, I've got a lot of adrenaline, I'm buzzing, you know, I probably won't stop talking for a while. So for you to tell me to go to sleep straight away, it's probably not going to happen, and my brain isn't going to let me. Other ways that you can help yourself in terms of sleep is avoiding caffeine before bed. Caffeine does affect people in different ways. For some of us, it can affect us dramatically. Some people might start shaking, some people might feel a bit jittery, and some people might have really high energy. I would say that it does have an effect on your body. So do start avoiding caffeine before bed. So that might mean, you know, 3 to 4 hours, maybe making sure you don't have a coffee, like drinks, Coke, different things like that. Another one is the right bedroom environment as well. You know, we can't go to sleep in an environment that's too warm for us. We do need to be at a chilled temperature. So have a look at your environment and where you're sleeping right now. Is it comfortable? You know, is there anything you can do to make it more comfortable? Do you need extra blankets? Do you need a pillow, an extra pillow? Do you need the window open, the window closed? Do you need nice night lights by your bed? You know, what can you put into your bedroom environment that might make it a bit more comfortable? As I've said here, you know, you can use music, reading, or mindfulness to help you fall asleep. I will cover mindfulness a bit later in this presentation, but some people find listening to music or having the TV on can really help them get to sleep. So maybe have a think about some of them things and what might work for you. Another thing that I found really helpful is keeping a notepad by your bed, because usually what happens when we're trying to go to sleep, we have so many ideas, we have so many thoughts, and this can keep us awake. You know, our brain is still ticking. We might feel exhausted, but our brain is still raring to go. If you put your notes to paper, It's kind of like talking to someone, isn't it? It's sharing that, it's getting it out of your brain. So keeping a note by your bed. And sometimes what is helpful is to write the thoughts and then the solutions. So it might be, I've got to get up a little bit earlier to do packed lunches, or I've got a doctor's appointment. So you might write the doctor's appointment, and then you're going to get up at this time and do this and do that. So that might be helpful there. There is lots of resources on how to get a good night's sleep. I would argue to have a look at National Mind. They've got lots of resources. The NHS have got fantastic resources. And we will come to a self-help slide later where I will talk about that a bit further. So that's sleep. Now we've got physical activity. And I do think that if you aren't feeling great at the moment, if you're feeling low in yourself, me telling you to go for a run is not going to help, is it? You're going to be like, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, which I completely understand, because if I'm honest, I wouldn't either. However, if you set small achievable goals, I wonder if that would feel better for you. So if you said to me that I've got to do an hour's walk every night, I'd be like, I can't do it, got no time. And to be honest, I probably don't want to do it. But if you said to me, right, what about 10 minutes? Or what about if you go to the end of your road, you hit the first lamppost and then you come back? What about that? What happens then when we do get to the end of the lamppost? We then feel that we can do more than that. And then we might do a little bit more. If we don't, we've still achieved our goal for the day. We've got to the end of the lamppost. So what I'm saying to you is set them small goals. It's all about being kind to yourself. If you set in yourself quite high goals, you know, you're setting yourself up to fail. And we want to look after you. We want you to look after yourself too. So another way you can do it is joining walking or running groups. You know, there's lots of them around the borough. I know that our volunteer Peter has one on a Sunday at Danson Park. I know there's running groups. There's one called Run for Wren, which is in Barnhurst, and they run and talk about mental health, which is fantastic. So there are things out there. The park run, I believe that's still going at Danson Park. That might be a good one for you to go to. And sometimes it can be really helpful to do things together and to not kind of do exercise on your own. So it could be helpful to get a buddy. You know, if you know someone that would like to get a bit active too, it might be worth doing that, you know, getting yourself up together, setting a challenge for yourselves. It can be nice because you're a bit distracted. You can also look at health apps. There's lots of applications for the phone around exercise and looking after yourself. I think NHS have one. We've got Couch to 5K. The Nike have got a running app. There's lots of things. And what I would also say about physical activity and implementing that into your day-to-day or weekly, it could be 1 or 2 times a week, is celebrate every achievement, because what's going to happen is you're then going to go further and further. So, you know, if you do get up, go for a walk, and get up, get dressed, go for a walk and go to that end of the lamppost, congratulate yourself for that. You know, it might seem silly to you, but actually looking after yourself and completing a goal is great, isn't it? You know, it makes us feel good. And when we feel good, we then want to do more. We talk about in psychology something called behavioural activation, which is basically where we are kind of programmed on our emotions. So I'll give you an example. If I feel good, I will go to the gym. And then because I've gone to the gym, it makes me feel good. So there we go. We can see that cycle. However, how a lot of us deal with this and deal with our emotions, when we don't feel good, we don't do the things that make us feel good because we don't want to. We want to withdraw from the situation. We don't feel up to it. But guess what? Because we're now not doing the things that we enjoy and what we like to do and we know that makes us feel good, it then goes back to us not feeling good. So do you see that pattern there and how we can break through that pattern? So sometimes it's about doing things that make us feel good regardless of how we already feel, because if I'm very honest, no one always wants to go to the gym. However, a lot of people tell me, and I do agree with this, that you don't regret a workout or you don't regret a time when you've done something for you. I'd love to see if anyone agreed, but hopefully you're with me in spirit. Another way that we can look after ourselves as well is all within our diet, our nutrition, and what we are doing to look after our physical health and what we're eating. So food is fuel, isn't it? Food is a way for us to get the vitamins, the minerals we need to give us energy, and it's basically to fire us up, isn't it? Breakfast is one of the most important meals in the day. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, but it's a way to get you started. It's a way to get your brain going, your body going. And a lot of people who don't eat breakfast originally start by eating something really, really small for breakfast. So if you're someone that doesn't eat breakfast at the moment, what about a banana or an apple or a few grapes or something nutritious that can feed you? Apologies. I cannot see the whole of my slide, which is a shame. So I'm just going to move something. There we go. Another way, avoid sugary foods, because what happens when we're eating sugary foods is we have got this temporary high. We might feel elated, we might have energy, but then we do have that low, because what goes up comes down. Same as managing caffeine. Any temporary fix in the body is going to make us feel great for 1 minute, but then not so the next. So do keep an eye on that. Be mindful of drinking water, you know, staying hydrated. We need to drink about 8 glasses a day. And all of these things you're doing, you're just telling yourself, I'm looking after me, I'm looking after me. And that is going to feel good. You could also create a food diary as well, so you could track what you're eating. And even if you looked back and saw, wow, my diet's improved, that's going to make you feel good as well. So we're all about the making you feel good here, all about the good vibes. Next one, make time for your personal care. When we are experiencing a mental health issue, sometimes our personal care does suffer. You know, we might not want to wash our hair as much, we might not shower. If we are a female, we always put makeup on, we might stop doing that. Gentlemen might stop shaving, different things like that. But then equally, when we do stop doing them things, doesn't make us feel good, does it? So it's always going back to us feeling good. And I know it can feel hard, especially when we're not feeling great and we don't have the motivation. But what we need to think about is moving forward and how we're going to make ourselves feel better. When working with clients, what I say to clients is sometimes it's not about getting back to exactly to where you were or exactly where you need to be. Right now, it's about being 1% better or 1% happier. And I think 1% feels a lot more achievable. So sometimes about getting up, getting dressed, well, actually shower first, then get dressed, and then we'll start to feel a little bit more like ourselves. So hopefully that bit's been helpful. Next, oh, apologies, my computer has frozen. Next, I want to talk to you about mindfulness. So mindfulness is kind of like a buzzword at the moment. I feel like we hear about it all the time. But mindfulness basically means it means you're going to be in the here and now. So you're not thinking about what happened before, you're not thinking about the future, you're in the present moment, you're thinking about what's happening now. So right now, I can hear myself talking. I can hear my chair squeaking because I'm rocking back and forth. I can hear the computer, I can see the screen. So I'm very much in the room. And why mindfulness is so good for you is because where we're focusing on the here and now, we're not thinking about all the things that have been or all the things to come, we're in the moment. So right now, I don't need to worry what's happening tomorrow. I don't need to worry about what's happening in a year because I'm in this moment. If you do practice mindfulness, there's lots of studies to show that it can help to manage depression. It can also reduce stress levels. It can help us feel good and more aligned with our body. It can help you become more self-aware. It can help you feel calmer. It can help you feel more able to choose and respond to your thoughts and feelings. So instead of your thoughts feeling quite constant and very overwhelming, taking a step back and focusing on the here and now can give you more of a filter so you can analyze each thought and you can rationalize them. It can also help you to cope with difficult thoughts or feelings that you've got right now. And it can also help you be kinder to yourself, taking that step out, focusing on what's around you, taking a deep breath, being with nature. All of these things can make you feel better. There's lots of ways that you can be mindful. You can do mindful eating, where you're literally just focusing on what you eat. You can do a mindful walk, where you're walking and you're looking around, you're looking at trees, you're looking at whatever's there, and that can make you feel quite grounded. One I like is actually I don't know, it's like a balloon, so a mindful balloon game, I guess we'd call it. So you'd blow up a balloon and you can't let the balloon touch the floor. That's another one if you're quite active and you're using your hands. But there's lots of ways that you can be mindful. I would really recommend to look at the Headspace app. They've got lots of mindfulness resources on there. If you've got Netflix, there's also a Headspace program, which is really useful actually. We've got the Calm app. There's also lots of YouTube clips, so they're free of charge. And there's like Mindfulness with Mind. There's also National Mind do lots of mindfulness resources. So hopefully that's a few there. But what I would say is give it a go. And apologies. What I would say is start off small. Do a short video, then go for another one and see how you feel. When you're doing it, if you're noticing you're getting lots of thoughts, say to yourself, I'm noticing that right now and I'm letting it go. I'm noticing that, but I'm going to let it go. Before you know it, you might be a mindfulness guru. There we go. Another way, you can try shifting your focus. If you're feeling quite overwhelmed about a situation or quite anxious about something, thinking about it right now when you're doing something may not be helpful. So you can try shift your focus. It's kind of like taking yourself to a happy place. So you could think about loved ones, you could think about a holiday, you could think about a nice memory, a funny video, whatever it is, that might be helpful to try and distract yourself. Next, listening to music. We actually say at Mind that music is medicine for the mind. A lot of us use music as a way to look after ourselves, to gear ourselves up for the day, to use it as type of therapy actually in ways. So if you do like music, make yourself a good feel-good playlist. And that might be helpful as well as a part of your self-care routine. Next, this is one that I think is really important, learning to accept yourself. So one of the most important steps in maintaining mental well-being is to learn to accept yourself. If you value yourself, you are more likely to have positive relationships with other people and find it easier to cope with difficult times in your life. So I just want to take a step back for a second. So what that's saying is that if we value ourselves and if we feel good in ourselves, then life around us seems to be a bit brighter. We seem to be having better connections with people and things seem to be easier at times. So I wonder if we all agree with that. I would argue that a lot of the time, if I'm feeling good in myself, the day seems to be going a bit better. If I'm not feeling so good, the day seems difficult. I seem to be getting stress after stress after stress. So maybe if that is the case, if we look after ourselves, then life around us seems to be a bit brighter, then what that means is we've got a lot more control than we think. And if we've got a lot more control than we think, that's fantastic because there's lots that we can do. So here are some things that you can do to increase your self-esteem. Number one, try not to compare yourself to other people. What you've got to remember is when you are comparing yourself to somebody, you only see a snapshot of that person's life. You have no idea what's going on in that person's life. The only life you really know about is your own. So next time that you do compare and you look at someone, you think they've got it all together, or they seem to be managing well, or they're managing their condition, they might be on a totally different stage to recovery than you are. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're looking on social media, for example, and you're seeing people and you think they've got it all together, that might not be the case, but also we don't know, we're just comparing and it's a biased example. Next one, acknowledge your positive qualities and the things you're good at. There's so much that you're good at. And sometimes when we are feeling low, we forget that. Our brain's like a magnet. When we feel negative, all that's happening is our brain's going, yeah, let's think about that that's negative. Let's think about that. Yeah, you're right. You're not good at this. You're not good at that. So what we need to do is we need to counteract that and go, what are we good at? I'm a good parent. I'm a good person. I make people laugh. I care about people. I like animals. I'm good to them. Write these qualities down. Keep them in your purse, keep them in your wallet, keep them on your phone. So when you are having that day where it's just not going your way, have a look at that. This is the third one. Learn to identify and challenge unhelpful thinking patterns. I really feel that this one is very important. As I said, we have something like 70,000 thoughts in a day. Lots of them are curious, lots of them don't make sense, and lots of them are just really unhelpful. So what we need to do is we need to take a step back and challenge these thoughts that we're getting. You know, where is the evidence for this? If I said this out loud to someone, what might they say to me? If my friend had this thought, what would I say to them about that? You know, so we just need to challenge ourselves so that we can feel a bit more, we can tackle things a bit more easily. That doesn't happen overnight. I appreciate that. I appreciate if you're feeling quite negative right now, if you're in a space where you don't feel great, you know, me telling you to do this overnight, it's not possible. But what is possible is to start. What is possible is to take that first step. So you can use self-help books, you can use websites to change your beliefs. You can look at something called the Good News Network. You can look at positive quotes, you can get good books, you can go to the library, get self-development books, and do something for you moving forward. Also, spending time with supportive people, and that's going to help you. You know, being around people that pick you up is always going to help and is always going to make you feel good. Being around your family, friends, partners, whoever it might be. And also engaging in things that you enjoy. Lots of us, we might be doing lots, but we might not necessarily be doing lots of things that we enjoy. So what is it that you enjoy? What do you want to do? Do you have a hobby that you haven't done in a while? Have a think about that, and maybe you can start to implement that into your week moving forward. Okay, so another one is relaxing. I mean, it's very easy to say, take time to relax, isn't it? But sometimes we don't really allocate ourselves enough time. And it might not be that you can allocate every day, but maybe a few times a day. Or maybe this is your start to your day. And what I would say about self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. As I said at the beginning of my presentation, it all starts with you. Looking after you and your mental health, it starts with you. You know, we can look after 100 people, but we need to look after ourselves first. It's very important. The analogy I use, it's like when we're on an aeroplane and they say to us, you know, make sure you put on your oxygen mask first before you put on someone else's. Why do they say that? Because you're no use if you pass out mid-go. If you're trying. And I know that's probably quite a strong analogy, but the same for here. You know, you need to look after you first. It's very important. So I've put some self-help resources here. So National Mind have got some information on sleep, so have the NHS. All of this information you can find on the Mind and Bexley self-help page. So if you go to the Mind and Bexley website, I think it says help resources, and then go to the self-help page and you'll find all of these resources here. Would have a good look, because as I said, you know, there might not be everything that works for you, but there might be one or two things that are golden nuggets for you moving forward. So hopefully that helps there. So as I said, Mind and Bexley website, help resources, self-help page. These are some services as well that are available for you. And I've just wrote a few here that might be helpful. At Mind and Bexley, we do have a wellbeing line that's open Monday to Friday, 10 to 3. And that is the number there. It's a free line, so it won't charge you anything. There's also a mental health crisis line provided by Oxley's. So if it's an emergency and you're unable to contact your care coordinator, you can call the 24-hour mental health crisis line. So that's the number there. So these are good numbers to put in your phone or to have in your notebook, just in case you need them. And lastly, in terms of mental health services, we've also got the Crisis Cafe. So very confusing, because I know it's called a cafe, but it isn't a cafe. This is actually a support service for you at our Mind and Bexley office. So this is a service where you can come along Monday to Sunday, 6 to 10 p.m. and speak to somebody for however long you need about what's going on for you. You know, you might be feeling very overwhelmed, you might be in crisis, you might be experiencing severe emotional distress, and you just want to talk to someone. We are here for you. We are open, come and see us. What happens is you'd come to our door, we'd let you in, you'd sign in, we'd take your temperature, and you would speak to somebody one-on-one for however long you need. That's the service we offer. We will listen, we'll offer support, we will refer you into services, and we will give you that care that you need and deserve. Next, there's also a weight management service. You know, we know lots of us do have issues with our weights, to do with our physical health, our eating, etc. And that can have an effect on our mental health as well, can't it? So as you can see here, Bexley residents or those registered at Bexley GP who want to lose weight can be referred to the Bexley's weight management referral service provided by Slimming World. So this is basically a complementary service where you can join the Slimming World groups. There is a criteria there though. So it says you have to have a body mass index higher than 25 kilograms. I don't know what that means, if I'm honest, under the -M2. However, what I would say is go onto the NHS website, find out your BMI, and then see if it's over 25. I believe that's correct, but Holly is a GP, and if it's incorrect, she will tell me right now. You can also look on if you write in Bexley Slimming World Service, I'm sure it will come up on Google, but here is the number you can self-refer yourself to. So you can actually self-refer to the service by contacting Slimming World, and that's the number there. They will ask you an NHS number, and the lines are open Monday to Friday. So you could always give them a call. They would probably be able to help you work out your BMI on the phone. I'm sure they wouldn't mind helping you with that, because it can be confusing, can't it? Next, there's also lots of us, Holly alerted us earlier about the impact of smoking on clients, especially SMI clients. So there is a service in Bexley on how to stop smoking, and you can sign up for the service there, which is free of charge. So there's the telephone number, or you can refer yourself on the Smoke Free Bexley website. And lastly, there is another service provided in Bexley for those who are experiencing dependency to alcohol or drug services. So that is the number you can call there, or you can go onto their website as well to find out more information. And what they will do is kind of work with you with your dependency and try and help you kind of get away from the drugs, the alcohol, etc. And they also offer kind of mental health support within that. There's a lot they do. So if this is you and you have been using alcohol or drugs as a way to manage, then perhaps it might be time to give them a call. So these are the services. I'll leave it on for a minute just in case anyone is taking down any numbers or anything like that. But lots of the services now, you can sign up straight away, which is quite helpful because it means that you can do it tonight. Obviously, GP surgeries are closed, so it means you can get on it and do something for yourself today. So that's some services there. And that is actually the end of my presentation. I did have a slide that said thank you for listening, but it's gone. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you so much, Laura, for that. I always learn something new when I hear you talk, and I think the idea of a trust list is fantastic. The notepad beside my bed is standard, and Headspace on Netflix. I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Oh, amazing.
So, Kate, we have Kate here from Bexley Voluntary Sector Council talking about volunteering and giving back to the community. So, Kate, over to you.
Thank you very much for having me this evening. I've got a screen to share, so if you can just bear with me while I do that. So, I'm from the from BVSE, Bexley Voluntary Services Council, and I am the Volunteer Centre Manager. So who are BVSE? BVSE is the Council for Voluntary Services, set up to offer support to organisations and residents of the London Borough of Bexley. BVSE is the go-to place for all things community and voluntary related, whether you want to volunteer your time, are looking for volunteers, or want to find out about local organisations. So I'm here for Jatinda to speak briefly about Community Connect, working underneath BVSE, and this is what they offer. So if you're 18 and over and registered to a Bexley GP and facing any of the issues below, reach out to us and we'll connect you to get the help you need. Forgive me. Debt and money advice, stress and anxiety, weight management, substance or alcohol dependency, being a carer, domestic abuse, loneliness and isolation, social or welfare needs, bereavement, managing health conditions, dementia, and problem gambling, and much more. So how would you go about contacting us? Well, we're on Twitter. We have a phone line, obviously. We're on Instagram, and also you can email on communityconnect@bvsc.co.uk. There's a team of people who are able to help. But I'm here to talk about volunteering. So if you're considering volunteering and you don't know where to start and could do with a bit of help, if you're unsure if you have the time or skills to support a Bexley charity, then the Volunteer Centre is here to help you. But why would you volunteer? Well, there are a few reasons. Firstly, it's great to support your community. We've seen the benefits that can bring, certainly during COVID, as we joined forces to help people. You can also meet new people, gain new skills, improve your CV. You can make a tangible difference. And also, you can have a bit of fun while you're doing it. But please don't just take our word for it. We've got a few volunteers here who would like to speak to you briefly. This is Sean. He volunteers for Bexley Moorings Project.
Hi, I'm Sean and I'm currently training to be a volunteer at Bexley Moorings. I volunteered at Bexley Moorings a few years ago on the Befriending Young People programme and I really enjoyed the experience. I found that some of the issues faced by the young people on the programme I had also experienced in the past, but whereas I had support they previously may not have. I feel this is the main reason why I'm looking to volunteer now, to offer support where it may be lacking and give back to the community. Besides the sense of fulfilment gained from volunteering, I'm also looking to gain potential work experience. And as someone who is still unsure which career path they'd like to pursue, I feel as though given if only a few hours a week volunteering will be quite valuable in determining if working with young people is something I'd like to pursue as a profession.
Hello there.
Sorry, this is not, forgive me, this is Norma. Norma.
Hello there. My name's Norma and I started doing the volunteering marshalling at Bursted Woods in January. I had a great time. You know, turns up at 8 o'clock in the morning, it was dark, there was wind, there was rain, there was hail, there was snow. But you know what? Absolutely loved it. And the age group we were doing was so appreciative, grateful, thankful. Yeah, it brought a smile to our faces and just enjoyed doing the volunteering. We're now into sort of June, July and we're still doing it. So yeah, had a great time. A lot of the elderly didn't want to leave. I'd say to them their 15 minutes was up and they said, oh, I'm having such a great time. Can we just stay a little bit longer? So yeah, a few minutes didn't matter. Jested with them wanting bacon sandwiches and tea or coffee or custard cream biscuits. I wished we could serve them, but we couldn't and we didn't. But no, we had a great time. And one time I was volunteering, someone turned up with a tray of donuts for the helpers. There was always sweets or something laying around for us volunteers to go and help themselves too. So all in all, we had a great time and we're still doing it.
My name's Eileen Pallen and I'm a COVID Marshal volunteer at Bursted Woods. And my experience has been that people are absolutely delighted to be getting their jabs and hugely grateful at all the organisations, including volunteers, who've all pulled together to make that happen. I've also been on the other side of the operation when I've been getting my jabs at Bursted Woods, and there's been a real feeling of we're all in it together. And that's been borne out by comments by other people who've been waiting for their jabs with me. I've been absolutely delighted to have been a very small part of this effort, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of other volunteers as well. Thank you.
So Community Connect are looking for wellbeing volunteers. We're looking for wellbeing volunteers that want to make a real difference to the lives of residents in Bexley who are directly impacted by COVID-19 virus. If you're interested in promoting health and well-being, have good listening skills, and want to develop your own skills, then this could be the perfect role for you. As a well-being volunteer, you'll be matched with a Community Connect client, maintain regular contact with your match via telephone, encourage a positive attitudes towards health and well-being, and help to reduce loneliness and isolation. What skills do you need? To be a good listener, be committed and motivated to improve the well-being of others. Be available at your allotted weekly or fortnightly slot. Attend and complete remote induction training sessions for this role, take part in regular remote supervisions, and be able to communicate effectively with your match. And be willing to learn about working with vulnerable people and follow our safeguarding confidentiality policies. And also follow our equal opportunities and diversity policies. We do have a number of roles available for people to register. These are a few that we have on our system currently. You would need to access our website to be able to go on and have a look at these roles and see if you can find a role that would fit what you want to do. You need to put in your postcode and put in the radius, and that will bring up the range of roles for you. We do hope that you've been inspired to volunteer, but if you'd like more information, please do contact us at bexleyvc@bvsc.co.uk or phone us on 01322 524 682, or you can go to our website volunteering.bbsc.co.uk. And if you still need help, we are able to offer one-to-one bespoke signposting sessions to help you find just the role for you. Contact us on the details above. And that's it. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to listen today. Many thanks.
Thank you, Kate. And I can just second BVSC. We have done some recruiting for our digital champions through them, and we've just found some really, really lovely people. So yeah, thumbs up from Kate. Okay, so this is the Q&A section. There's still time to submit if you'd like. A couple of things have come up in the chat. Firstly, somebody asked if slides would be shared. So as I said, the recording will be made available on Mind in Bexley's YouTube. But if you would like me to email those, please just drop a message in the chat, and I can take a note of that and circulate the slides tomorrow. In terms of questions, Holly, I have one for you. Right. Why do I need a blood test every year? Does that much really change?
Okay, so the blood tests that we offer at the annual health check, the most important ones are for cholesterol and a screening test for diabetes. So these are conditions that we know people with severe mental illness are at higher risk of diabetes and at higher risk of having raised cholesterol. And these conditions often don't give you that many symptoms, so you wouldn't know often that you have underlying diabetes or that you have high cholesterol. So these blood tests will allow us to pick those up. And if we do find that you have raised cholesterol or that your sugar levels are high, then we can put in early interventions. We can help you with changing your diet, exercising, and sometimes giving you some medication that will help bring down the cholesterol levels and improve any diabetes or stop you kind of getting diabetes in the future, and so helping to improve outcomes. The reason we have to do it every year is that things change. You know, we all know with COVID that everybody, you know, changed what they did. People didn't exercise as much. People maybe ate a little bit more or ate the wrong things. So, you know, it's really important that we do it every year. And also certain medications that you might be on for your mental health, for instance, olanzapine or lithium, you do need to monitor your cholesterol regularly, and sometimes you might need to have other blood tests, for instance, checking your kidney, liver function, maybe blood count, and that might be done a little bit more often, but we will sort of tailor the blood test to your needs when we see you for the health check.
Super, thank you very much. Laura, someone has popped into the chat that they visited the Crisis Caf a while ago, and they just really wanted to check in. They said they were intrigued what one might go there for. Is it a case of definitely seeking help there, but using sparingly, or is that a no-no? What do you go to Crisis Caf for?
So Crisis Caf was originally set up to support people who was experiencing kind of severe distress, and for those people that would potentially have attended A&E, but perhaps we might be able to kind of speak to them in quite a safe and quiet space. However, it's really developed now that we do see anyone with any issue relating to their mental health. So if there is anyone in the borough that just needs someone to talk to, or maybe emotionally you are feeling that it's getting too much, come and see us. We have mental health workers that are really experienced, and they are literally waiting to speak to you. So if you are, you know, feeling distressed, if you are feeling unwell, if you don't feel yourself, come and see us, because that's what we do. That's what we're waiting for you, really. So it is, in terms of using it sparingly, you can come and see us as many times as you want. Honestly, if you came to see us every day, then maybe I'd say, well, we need to get you your own chair and everything like that. So that might be a bit different. But I mean, of course you can come and see it. If it means that you are going to be safe and you're going to be well, then we would much rather you come and speak to us and to see us. So yeah, it is open for everyone. The only criteria is that you have to be 18 or over. So that is the criteria. Unfortunately, we don't support anyone under that age. But yeah, I hope that's answered the question. So if you have thought that you've accessed that and maybe you can't again, that is really not the case. Please do come and see us if you need us.
Super, great. Kate, there's a concern here from someone. I'm interested in being a volunteer, but do I have to disclose my diagnosis? What's the right thing to do?
Legally, you don't have to. You don't have to disclose your diagnosis if you choose not to. However, I would say that if you're going to volunteer, it's within your interest to disclose. Due to the fact that the organisation will be able to put the measures in place to keep you safe and to offer you the support to be able to be your best during that volunteering role. So it would be within your interest to disclose. I appreciate that it could be difficult to do so, but you can do that in a safe space when you have your interview, or if you feel like you need to just speak to them before you investigate as to whether you can volunteer or not. It could be worth a conversation. Some organisations may say that they haven't got the capacity to be able to support you, and that's okay. It may be that they haven't got the capacity now, but they may be able to in the future. So you could come back to that organisation, and maybe you might be in a better position coming back to it at a later date anyway. So maybe that would be beneficial to everybody concerned. So I wouldn't be put off by it. So we are not able to offer any additional support to help you find roles other than the one-to-one support, the signposting that we do offer. That's either via Zoom or on phone, or we can offer face-to-face. And then we can narrow down the field as to what you'd be interested in doing, where you'd like to work, volunteer, not work, where you'd like to volunteer, and what level of commitment you're able to give as well, because it can vary. People's time varies, and obviously you're giving your time for nothing. But there are benefits to doing this, as I've previously mentioned, and it's worth it for your own self-esteem. It can help you improve your well-being in so many ways. So it's worth pursuing. It's worth a conversation with us. We wouldn't be able to help you to go once we've signposted you to a particular role. We wouldn't be able to support you beyond that, sadly, but we do have contact with organisations, and we can make contact on your behalf in some instances. So don't be afraid to just tell the truth, and then we can offer the right support and find the right place for you.
That sounds brilliant. Thanks, Kate. Holly, another one for you in the hot seat. I don't like the side effects of my medication. Can I just stop?
So I think with medication side effects, it's always, you should have had a conversation with your GP or your sort of community mental health team when you were first put on the medication, and maybe they might have highlighted some side effects that you might have had, and they might hopefully have told you any severe side effects. That means you need to stop your medication. But if you have been on that medication for some time and you're experiencing side effects, then I would recommend seeking help from your care coordinator, from your GP. And if it is in an emergency, you can call 111 and get some advice for sort of out of hours. But generally, I would try and stay on your medication unless you're feeling really unwell, and get in touch with your GP or with your mental health team worker, your care coordinator, to kind of have a discussion as to whether this is a medication that you need to continue, or whether there are alternatives or maybe dose reductions that can be put into place.
Great, thank you. The next question, Laura. So, what does self-care look like on a bad day? When things are going wrong, where do you start?
Oh, wow, what a question. That is a very good question. Okay, so that can look very different. It depending on the person. It might mean that your self-care routine that you're doing is minimized. So you might be doing something on a small scale. However, it might mean you just check out completely and, you lie in bed all day and eat chocolate, or do something, completely not in your routine, and that's okay too sometimes, because sometimes we need that time to switch off. So I guess the main thing I would say about that is, when you are having a bad day, is be patient with yourself. How you're going to feel, it isn't going to feel like this at all times, and you are going to have that motivation again when you do feel that you can look after yourself. We manage a lot of things. You might be managing your medication checks, life admin, whatever you've got going on in life, and some days it might not feel like okay to look after yourself. It might not feel a priority for you, and that's okay as well. Sometimes you've got to be patient with yourself, and as I said, small achievable goals at all times. Don't overwhelm yourself in I have to do this self-care for an hour, because that's actually more harming actually if you're then so anxious about doing this for you. It should be something small that fits into your daily routine, and if it doesn't for one day, it's okay. Just pick it up the next day, and tomorrow's a new day.
Awesome. Small achievable goals. Right, Kate, we have one last question. I want to be a volunteer, but don't always feel up to things on the day. What happens if I don't feel up to it?
So roles vary. The level of commitment varies. But it would be important to be honest with the organisation, and they would say more often than not, dependent upon the role that you're doing, obviously, so long as you let them know that you're not going to be able to make it, rather than just not turning up, then that will be fine. You're not a paid employee. You're a volunteer, you're giving your time for nothing. And if you find that you're not able to do it on a certain day, so long as you let them know, it will be fine. As long as they're able to make some adjustments if need be, whatever the role may require. So it would be okay.
Good to know there's some flexibility there. So I've checked the chat, I've checked the Q&A. That's all the questions for tonight. So I just really want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to the audience for sitting and listening to us. I hope you've learned something new and or interesting. Again, I'd encourage you to visit the Mind in Bexley site and look at, all the amazing projects and services we have happening. GPs, check in with your GPs, make sure they know what's going on with you, and BVSC are, whether you're benefiting from the volunteers or getting active in there, just get connected. And thank you. Good night, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.